play the over the top. And we have a lot more stuff than our opponents do, but there could be some nasty stuff in this Reanimator deck, so that, you know, is a concern. But I think we still just got to do this and hope for the best. Hey guys, there's 2 great ways to support the channel. All links are in the description below. Welcome back everyone, playing some Sophina Spear Sage Deserter today, also known as Chief Jim Hopper. Let's take a look at this opener. 1, 2, 3 lands. This one's good. This is more of a late game thing. Got a little protection spell. This is a good card. Okay, yeah. Plus our commander draws. This is one of like the very few Boros commanders that has built-in draw. So I think this is reasonable. It doesn't ramp at all, which... let's just take a... before we do that, let's take a peek at what we're looking at. Braids, Slimefoot, I haven't really seen that one. And Vial Smash or Krark, huh? Well... we'll keep and just hope that things aren't too slow. Today's deck list comes to us from Patreon supporter Fi, and he's been pretty excited about it. I'm really excited because I've been wanting to build a Sophina deck for like 2 years. Now my idea is a little different. Like most people just kind of go heavy on the artifact synergy, and there's definitely a lot of that in here, which obviously makes sense with the commander. What I've been wanting to do, and we won't be doing that today, but I just want to talk about it because it's been on my mind for like 2 or 3 years, right? It's been sitting in the backlog of decks that need to get built. I really want to make like an aggro control deck where you have a lot of small creatures that are removal, so Flametongue Kavu, Skyclave Apparition, Cathar Commando, those type of cards. You run about 30 of those, and then you use Sophina as the card draw to make sure that you basically always have removal. And I've long been obsessed with this idea. I haven't actually sat down to do it, but it's been on my mind for like a very long time. So we draw a Krark there, which is one of the ones we added to the deck just because Sarah Lyons not available on MTGO, and kind of a big card for the deck. But Krark is also really powerful. It's not the best extra combat spell, but I would say it's probably still like A tier. Like, it's still a really good one. Personally, I like Waves of Aggression and Aggravated Assault for the combo potential. Aurelia now, too, with Hearth and Home, becomes very easy combo potential. So, yeah, those are the S tier extra combats. Krark is still like an A tier extra combat. It's very, very good. Still an A tier combat because it also gives them first strike until end of turn. And like, that's a big deal when you have like, you know, I don't know, 3/3s, 4/4s, like maybe like a lopsided, like Flametongue Kavu's a lopsided 4/2, right? That gets a lot better when you've got first strike on it. Really makes it much harder to block profitably. And like, it's the type of thing where it's like, okay, they can't block and kill it easily in the first combat, which means it survives long enough for the second combat. So yeah, I do really like Krark a lot. I would say, unless I'm doing something specific, I would probably run this over Mirage quite a bit. I like Mirage, but the timing is complicated. It requires lands, which you don't always have. And just, you know, being slower at 6 mana. Krark, at 5 mana, comes down pretty easily. And just, again, the first strike is so nice. Doesn't give you the damage that Mirage will, because it also gives you the pump on that, which is super nice. But, again, there's more setup. Mirage is more involved. Krark is very straightforward. And, you know, if you're playing in, like, strong decks in difficult situations, straightforward is kind of the thing you want. You just want it to be good and not have to, like, jump through too many hoops, so... But obviously they're very close, so if you choose one over the other, it's not a huge deal. It's just kind of how I feel about them. And this is Flamekin Village. Do we have any elementals? Not an elemental. Not an elemental. No elementals. Anything on 2? Nothing to do on 2. Seems like a good time for a Flamekin Village. Did have a couple things happen while I was talking. The Braids opponent got themselves a Soul Ring. Never great. And opponent cast their Krark because Krark is 2 mana. Let's take a read of Sophina. So Sophina is 4 mana for a 4/4 with Menace. Whenever she attacks, for each non-token attacking creature, investigate. Pretty straightforward. It just wants you to have creatures that attack that aren't tokens. And then you get the clue tokens, which means you then have card draw built in, which is fantastic. And also you can do artifact synergy stuff and token synergy stuff. We see an Academy Manufacturer right here. We see a Jorkadine because Metalcraft is nice. Getting the clues, it should be easy to use the Sacrifice 3 Clues mode on Tamio's Journal. Is a really nice thing. So yeah, there's like a lot of really cool synergies with Sophina. And the deck that I was talking about earlier, dips into them a little bit less and just uses it more as like a card draw source. you know, which is a direction that you can go with it. But, you know, I think in general, most people will probably do the artifact thing, because, you know, you drop a Reckless Fireweaver and then you make some clues and people will die really quickly. Opponent gets Sifter of Skulls. Faithless Looting. Gross. You guys know how I feel about that card. This is Slimefoot and Squee. Oh, yeah. Okay, I forgot that these guys teamed up. 3 mana, 3/3. Whenever Slimefoot and Squee enters or attacks, create a 1/1 Saproling. Pay 4. Sacrifice a Saproling to return Slimefoot and Squee and up to one other target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I get that it's a Reanimator. Anger into the graveyard. Ooh, Flare the Hatebound. Yeah, that's kind of a nasty card for a Reanimator deck. We should be a little scared of that. We should. There's cause for alarm, right there. If you guys don't remember this one, it's at a Dark Ascension. 6 mana. Woof. Yeah, if you cheat that mana cost, it's a lot better. 6 mana for a 4/2 Undying. Whenever it or another creature enters the battlefield from your graveyard, that creature deals damage equal to its power to any target. Yep, that can do a lot of damage. Definitely died to this in the past. It's been a long time, though. It's actually been a long time since I've seen this style of deck. Maddening Hex. That one's not on my radar. Whenever enchanted player casts a non-creature spell, roll a d6. Oh, yep. It's the dice rolling deck. Then deal damage equal to that player equal to the result. Then attach Maddening Hex to another one of your opponents chosen at random. That's cute. That's cute with Vial Smasher. That's going to be like a lot of random damage happening. I don't know how much lifelink is in this deck, but I'm guessing. But I'm gonna hope that there's some. There is an Ornithopter of Paradise. Ooh, that's an interesting choice because this can attack and get us things. So yeah, I think we're playing the Ornithopter. Let's get the battlefield for just make sure we have white mana in case weirdness happens. It's not the most mana efficient. Academy Manufacturer would be probably more mana efficient, but this is the route. Yeah, this is just how I'm choosing to go with it. So kind of I want to get the ramp going. Yeah, maybe Academy because. On the other hand, if we played Academy Manufacturer, yeah, then we attack with it, and then we get a treasure token with our commander in. Okay, yeah, maybe that wasn't the right way to do that. Whoops. Hopefully that doesn't bite us. God, with Tamio's Journal, Academy Manufacturer is a card that I honestly don't have a lot of love for. I think it's I know people hate when I say this, but this is a really popular card, and I know people run it in a ton of decks, but it came out, I'm just that's too much, right? Treasures are already busted. We don't need more and more treasures to be made more easily. So it's a card that I really haven't adopted all that much because I just kind of don't like it. But I get why you run it in this deck because it is very powerful for this deck. Let's take a read of the other commanders at the table. So over here we've got Braids, Arisen Nightmare. Don't love this. Burglar Rat. Each opponent discards a card. What are we getting rid of? It's got to be one of these two. The question is, do we want the extra combat or we want the 3/0? I feel like the extra combat with First Strike is a little bit better, but both are good. They're very close. Whenever one or more other creatures die, draw a card. This ability triggers only once each turn. Oh, yeah. I remember this guy. 4/3 over to the Slimefoot and Squee opponent. Changes their mind. No attacks. I mean, no one has anything. There's no reason not to attack there. Slimefoot and Squee. Yep. Wonder if he has any reanimation in the deck. Would love to be able to get that Jorkadine back. Noam area. Ascend from Avernus is on Magic Online now? Oh my god. That's massive. I've been waiting for this for so long. That's a really good piece of reanimation. Yeah, I can't even tell you how long I've been waiting for that to get on Magic Online because that significantly impacts your late game for white decks. That is a huge pickup card for white, and I have not been able to play it for, 2 years probably at this point, and yeah. This is a Tavern Brawler. Yeah, it's good for partner decks. There's an Iroas. That's a nice card. Cast Sophina. Attack with the Ornithopter. Oh, she has to attack. Well, I guess it doesn't really matter. Whoops. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's just where we're at. So, Dreadhorde Invasion. Triggers the Maddening Hex. Man, if you have the chance to do 6 damage for every spell cast, that's actually insane. It's not that it's going to do 6 every time, but if you're getting, 2 rolls with it, opponent takes 2. Oh, never mind. That's not what Krark does. I was thinking Krark's Thumb. Krark's Thumb will do that. Krark himself doesn't do that. It is now attached to the Slimefoot player. I've been wanting to build a Witch Hunt deck for a long time, and this also seems like it goes in the Witch Hunt deck. Treacherous Blessing. Draw 3 cards. Whenever you cast a spell, lose 1 life. When it becomes the target of spell or ability, sacrifice it. Yeah, it's not bad. Yeah, 3 mana, draw 3. Whenever you cast a spell, lose 1 life is a little interesting, because if you can't get rid of it, you could actually lose a lot of life, depending on what you're doing. So I might still be on, if you have enchantment synergies and sacrifice synergies, that's fine. For general mono black, I'm probably still on Ambition's Cost, Ancient Craving, personally. I just like those cards. They're very straightforward. As long as you have 4 life, 4 mana, you can cast them. There's a Braids for opponents, so we're going to be looking at multiple Braids. This one is significantly less punishing than the other one, as I recall. At the beginning of your end step, you may sacrifice an artifact, creature, enchantment, land, or planeswalker. If you do, each opponent may sacrifice a permanent that shares a type with it. For each opponent who doesn't, that player loses 2 life and you draw a card. Yeah, I mean, it's good, but the other Braids is banned. So, this doesn't rise to that occasion. It's a good card, and it can put a lot of cards in your hand, do a lot of damage really quickly, but it is not ban-worthy. The other one definitely is. The other one's a great way to say, do you like playing Magic? Cool, no one gets to play Magic. Slimefoot going on the attack makes another Saproling. They missed their land drop this turn, which is actually kind of nice, so, we're at least one more turn away. Oh, God, there's an Atali in here. Yeah, we're at least one more turn before the Reanimator shenanigans start. Morbid Opportunist, something dies. We're not going to sacrifice anything. Oh, opponent can just, sacrifice this, right? No, it has to be enchantment. So, they sacrifice their commander. Yep, that all makes sense. That all makes sense. Opponent sacrifices the Burglar Rat. Yeah, I'm sure that'll be back. Sifter of Skulls, making Eldrazi. Krark. Oh, that's the Tavern Brawler effect. Karavak the Merciless. Oh my. There's some scary stuff with this board. I'm actually concerned about a lot of things now. That's a lot of damage. It's been a long time since I've seen this card, but it is disgusting. It's one of those, if you have removal, you have to use it on this kind of things. Actually, though, it's probably going to go to exile, because I don't think they're going to be able to cast it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, they're on 4 mana. Okay, so this might just stay in exile, which would be fantastic, But opponent clearly playing a Punisher deck. No question about that. Which begs the question, do we have any life gain in the deck? Because it also means that, protecting our life total is going to be a good idea, because it's going to get burned quickly. So if we can, not take attacks from stuff, that's a good idea. I'm not seeing any lifelink, which could be a concern. You find some prisoners. Exile top 3 cards. I need to run this card more. This is a nice little, flexible... Opponent scoops. What? Ugh. Yeah, it's annoying. I don't know why they scoop. Well, now we're stuck with this Reanimator deck. I guess that means we know where we're attacking. Do we... How big is that? That's a 3/3. Okay, I'm going to go Academy Manufacturer right here, because I think if we count right, we should be able to hold up Clever Concealment, and with what's about to come into play, that's probably going to be a really good idea. Sophina into the Slimefoot opponent. So we get 1 of each type of token off of the Academy Manufacturer, which is... It's really good. It's really good. Over the top, what's this do? 7 mana. Each player reveals any number of cards from the top of their library equal to the number of non-land permanents they control. Put all permanents they revealed this way onto the battlefield. Rests in the bottom. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I see why you run that. Yeah, because if you have a million clues in play, this seems really good. Cough your deck into play. It's the type of thing that could bite you, though. Because, if opponents catch, let's say you get 15 cards, opponent gets let's say 8 cards. If there's 3 or 4 nasty hits in those 8 cards, right, it still could be not great, right? If one of them's Elish Norn, that can be a problem. Mindstone. Opponent loses a life. Yep, here comes Braids, Arisen Nightmare. Loses another life. 4/3 over to the Slimefoot. Academy Manufacturer. With this seems ridiculous, because we're going to very quickly have a ton of tokens. Opponent blocks. Changes their mind. I really wanted that Punisher deck to stay at the table, because that puts, a lot of pressure on the game. And it would create some really interesting dynamics when people start losing huge chunks of life. Yeah, there's going to be 2 Braids at the table. I mean, that's 4 life a turn. It's not great. Actually, if we need to, if they sacrifice an artifact, we can match artifacts to sacrifice, but maybe I do want to get this. Probably going to plan to try to really go wild with this. That's a creature. Opponent draws a card. Arcane Signet. Yeah, wow, did they not get a land with the Braids last turn? Opponent must not be running enough lands, because if you draw 3, you don't get your 4th land. I mean, I get that you can get unlucky on Magic Online, but that seems... Oh, he's just going to animate that. Yeah, now we're getting a Tali. Enters battlefield. Each player exiles top card of their library until they exile a non-land card. You may cast any number of spells. Yup. Well, I think we know who we're attacking. Is there a Homeward Path in this deck? EK posted on Twitter today that like not enough people are running Homeward Path, and I tend to agree. No Homeward Path. Yeah, because, you know, people like their Atalis, both of them. They hit a Zerta from us. Yep. So they get a Mana Dork and a Zerta. It could be much, much worse than that. It's still a powerful card, though. What's the backside? Because I think that's nasty, too. Trample and Indestructible, 11/11. Deals combat damage to a player. They get that many poison counters. Don't get hit by that. But that does take 10 mana to flip over, and they are a very long ways away from that. Coercive Portal is interesting, especially with 3 players. Each player votes for Carnage or Homage. Carnage gets more votes, sacrifice it, and destroy all non-land permanents. Ooh. What does this protect? Non-land permanents. Okay. The problem is, we're not going to be able to respond to that trigger. I don't think we can respond to that trigger. Is it a separate trigger? It would have to be, right? If it's a separate trigger, we can respond to it. I don't know if we have the time to respond to that trigger if it goes off, which is kind of nasty. Yep, opponent jumping pretty far ahead here. Probably needs to be Iroas, just so we can keep attacking. The problem is we can't really get through the Atali. I mean, I guess we can kill something small. Braid's going to come at us, yep. That will happen. If we play the Iroas, we can attack with 2, maybe 3 creatures, then get 3 treasures. That seems like a decent place to be. We are not going to sacrifice. They sacrifice the Coercive Portal. Yeah, because, I mean, we could use the Coercive Portal, could be used to blow up the board, so... Yep, I get why they did that. Generous Plunderer. Menace. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may create a treasure token. When you do, target opponent creates a tapped treasure token. When it attacks, it deals damage equal to the defending player, equal to the number of artifacts they control. Well, that's interesting. That can punch out a little damage. Like we talked about, I do think we need to get Iroas first. Question is, do we attack with the Ornithopter or not? We'll have 3 treasures. I think it's fine. I think we can attack with it. We get the Sophina trigger. We'll make 3 clues, which turns into 3 of each of these tokens. And that gives us some extra mana. Yeah, next turn. Next turn we could potentially think about Over the Top, but Krark is also a good idea. The other thing, maybe we need to go Over the Top because we don't have the Devotion for Iroas currently. So we get to kill a Saproling in all of this. Maybe would have hoped to get a little more done, but... Again, we are set up. We have our protection spell up, which is important. Opponent gets to draw a card. And then, again, we have the mana for Over the Top. And if we're really lucky, potentially enough for Over the Top and... ooh, does that get lands, too? Non-land permanents. Sadness. Oh, if that put lands in play. Oh, my. Oh, my, that would be good. Dreadhorde Invasion. You know what, though? We are wide open to taking a shot from Atali here. Maybe should have thought about that more, but like I said, I wanted to get the... We're on 4 treasure tokens, so I wanted to make sure we have Clever Concealment up. In case the board wipe goes off. I guess if they attack us, though, then they don't have it as a blocker, and that is actually legitimately a good thing, so... Vat of Rebirth. Whenever another artifact or creature you control is put into the graveyard, put an oil counter on it, remove 4 oil counters from it, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield, activate only as a sorcery. Seems fine. It's one of those cards that, like... There's so much reanimation in black that, you know, as cool as this is, why would you choose this over the other, like, 200 black reanimation spells? Now, if this were white, that would not be a bad little white card, right? Because white's reanimation is still, it's a little behind the game, right? It's gotten a little better over the past few years, but you get, like, maybe 1 good piece of white reanimation every year, I think, give or take. Maybe that math is off, but that's what it feels like. We had Ascend from Avernus like 2 years ago. Right around that same time was Storm of Souls, which is reasonable. 2015, you had Amaria Shepherd, which is fantastic. Great Merchant of Asphodel. Oh, that's going to do a lot of damage. That's actually scary. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Ew. We go down to 20. Ouch. How much was that? They go up to 50. Potentially they're the new threat. Braids. Yeah, that's a lot of life loss that's going off. So yeah, man, I think it's probably got to be Over the Top, and we probably got to hope to get a little lucky with some big hits. Down to 18. Opponent sacrifices our Zerda, it goes to the graveyard. Problem now, too, is that, like, you start talking about, like, Flare of the Hatebound coming back. That's a lot of damage. But I guess, you know, with the opponent being at 50, they probably have to start thinking in that direction and maybe not shooting us. Eldrazi token, draws a card, yeah. If we can find more mana production in whatever Over the Top hits, then potentially we get Krark, And if all that... Ooh, that's a Bajuka Bog. They go on the mono black opponent because that makes sense. Yeah, that'll get rid of the Gray Merchant, actually, which is a big deal. Means we won't just die to Gray Merchant, but... You know, if they're running Gray Merchant, are they running all the other ones? Torment and Exsanguinate and all that? That's a question you have to ask. Heroic Intervention. Is this the board wipe? Yeah, it's a Blasphemous Axe, so we're going to Clever Conceal. Does eat up a lot of our mana, which I was hoping to do that over-the-top play. Yeah, a whole bunch of things trigger. Opponent's wide open, so they can, I mean, chunk them down from 50 pretty good with that Atali. Could use, like, a Ritual. Just need, like, a little burst of mana. I just counted there are about 15 pieces of ramp in the deck. Some of them are a little weird just because they're kind of more artifact synergy-based than, you know, straight signets or anything like that. There are a few signets, but... you know, overall the count is good. I guess it's just a question of, like, we haven't really run into a lot of ramp this game. Yeah, I mean, I guess we really haven't, like, drawn the cards either, because this game has just developed so quickly. You know, we protected the board wipe, they protected themselves against the board wipe, so that really speeds the game up. If the board wipe lands, you have more time to just, like, slow down and draw stuff and do all that. Yeah, both going into the mono black, 3 going into the mono black opponent. All 4 going in. Yep, love that. Love that. Oh, you know what the life gain is in this deck? It's the food tokens. That's where we can get some life gain. We don't have the mana for it. That's a concern. A card that I would love to see right now is Thran Turbine. You can get some free cracks on the clues and the things. I wonder if it's worth running Braid of Fire with Sophina also. Because once it gets to 2, then, you know, you can get a free crack on all the clues. And the longer it sits there, you know, if it gets to like 4 or 6, it's really good mana. Opponent sacrifices the Atali, so I assume it'll be coming back very soon. We go down to 16. Yep. Ancient Tomb is a sight for sore eyes. Play the Ancient Tomb. Play the Over the Top. And we have a lot more stuff than our opponents do, but there could be some nasty stuff in this Reanimator deck, so that, you know, is a concern. But I think we still just got to do this and hope for the best. Plus, it's a fun card. Haven't really played it. Was it maybe about a year old? What'd we hit? Oh, we hit a Reckless Fireweaver. That is a magic card. We also hit Inspiring Statuary. That is also a magic card. Opponent hit Wellspring. The Iron Crag is fine. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we rocketed ahead right here. That I like. There's 3 Reckless Fireweaver triggers. That's good. That means there's probably might be some treasures coming back. Reconnaissance is also super helpful. What do we get on this one? We can discard a card, then draw. Create a treasure. That's probably what we're going with. Or create a Wicked Roll attached to a creature. I don't even know what that mechanic does. What's that out of? Oh, Eldraine. I think we just got to go treasure because, yeah, we've got the Academy Manufacturer and also the Reckless Fireweaver. So, yeah, this is, opponent's going to feel this a little bit. Plus, man, if we can get Krark. Oh, man, if we can get Krark. People might be dead. People are just going to die. I was hoping to fool around with this Tamio's Journal at some point, but I don't think this game's going to go long enough. Ooh, and we caught a Soul Ring in there? Oh, yeah. Yeah, that, Over the Top. Sweet card. I'm sure you can't run it everywhere, but in some decks, I like this one. It looks pretty good. Yup. So yeah, that's for every clue, for every token we make, we then make 3 tokens, which triggers the Reckless Fireweaver 3 times. Yeah, this is going to be potentially lethal damage. Because if we attack with what, like 5 creatures? We maybe have like 4 attackers. 1, 2... Crap, I tapped the haste land. A thing to think about is that if we do not win right here, we may need to gain some life. Yeah, cast Krark. Oh, we can improvise? Oh, even better. Improvise, Krark. Use the food tokens. Pay 1 for the Krark. Love that. We're going to set a stop in the end combat for Reconnaissance. One of those rare things. There are very few cards that, like, care about the end combat step, but Reconnaissance is one of them. Tamios. We can wait on Tamios for a second, just kind of see how this attack goes. Yeah, everything into the mono black deck. I have a feeling the other deck may just die to Reckless Fireweaver triggers. Sophina. They might not die. Oh, they will when Krark goes off. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think we've got this game locked up. That's a lot of Reckless Fireweaver triggers. Why we have to stack them all, I have no idea. Usually these auto-stack. We have so many tokens. Back to combat. Opponent's down to 9 and 5. Oh, yeah. Yeah, this is going to be lethal. Unless opponent's got something over there. I don't think they do, though. I feel like they would have already played it. Sophina. Opponent scoops. Bunch more triggers. Yeah, opponent scoops right there. Wow. What are they at? I think they started the turn at like 34 to 35. We did a lot of damage this turn. Like, a lot of damage. Because we did about 20 to the other opponent, I think, give or take. and then to do 35 over here. And it's turn 7. We didn't... we got a few treasures that helped us. That was the extent of our ramp. No, like, really permanent... I guess we caught Ancient Tomb super late. Yeah, we had that too, I guess, but... Okay, so we did have a little bit of ramp. We didn't ramp as much as I usually do, which is, you know, using Hearth and Home a million times and getting every land in the deck. We didn't do that, but we ramped a little, and I am surprised about how much damage we did with things that seemingly aren't that big. Like, Sophina, Iroas, and Krark, sure, I expect a little bit of damage out of them, but a lot of the damage was, like, Academy Manufacturer and Reckless Fireweaver. Like, that was... a lot of damage. So yeah, there was a tickle in the back of my brain that was like, oh, there's a world in which we might be able to end this game. And then as we started kind of working through it, I'm like, oh, we might be able to end this game from a spot that didn't look like that was going to be possible necessarily. Over the top. Fun little card, huh? That has me wondering, where else can I run this? I don't know. I have to sit there and think about it. Probably decks that have tokens. That is probably going to be a good spot for that. Man, if you're playing like red-green tokens or something like that, that seems insane. Red-white tokens, maybe? Maybe. Over the top. Gotta start brewing with over the top. But yeah, as far as the deck, I thought the deck played well. We didn't see a lot of removal. I don't know how much removal is actually in the deck. It might be a little light, just based on what it's doing, but, you know... You do want some amount of removal just so you can stop problems if they show up, but... based on what we saw right there, I mean, yeah, this deck does just want to be aggressive, and, you know, when that's the case, you can skimp on removal a little. And particularly in the case of, like, again, lots of direct damage, because, you know, things can happen on board where you can't get the attacks through, but if you can get the direct damage through, which usually is significantly easier to do, then, you know, then you're talking about doing a lot in a turn, so... Yeah, I thought the deck played well. I don't know that I have a lot of recommended... I did add Anointed Procession because some cards were missing, and Anointed Procession seems right at home in this deck. Oh, here's a cute little card that you can run for this deck. Does it fit? Do you need to run it? No, but it's fun in certain situations. That's Hellkite Igniter. Because again, like we saw right there, we had a million treasures in play. If for some reason we untapped and like still had to do more damage, Hellkite Igniter can bring the pain in a way that is very pleasing. Again, that's more of like a... We'll call that more of a pet card. Just the 7 mana really holds it back. If it were 6, I'm probably all in on it. The one thing I did notice is, yeah, maybe a little more lifelink in the deck. A True Conviction would not be the worst idea. Again, you know, the True Conviction is just always good for a deck that wants to attack. So, you know, that might be something I consider up there. Again, just having some source of lifelink. We had the Academy Manufacturer, which is undoubtedly a good card. But, you know, I think people also do know to shoot this. Having another way to get some life gain, particularly one that doesn't, like, cost you per trigger, like the food tokens do, I think is going to be a really good idea. So yeah, I would probably add like a True Conviction just to get that lifelink going. Or, I mean, there's other sources of lifelink too. If you wanted like a Luxodon Warhammer or a Shadow Spear, also totally fine. But just, you know, for kind of a go-wide aggro deck, True Conviction just always kind of makes sense. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. As always, feel free to comment, like, or subscribe. Thank you for watching. So recently I've been working on a secret project that's really cool, but it's also going to be horrendously expensive to get filmed. So I greatly appreciate anything you guys are able to contribute to the Patreon in order to fund that video, and I hope to be able to share it soon. And of course, thank you to my Patreon supporters. You guys are awesome.